Number two, what was the second reason that made that man foolish that day? Well, the second point that we can pick from him was not knowing the will of the Lord. Not knowing the will of the Lord. Is that accounted as foolishness? Oh, yes, it is. God has a will. We do not deal with an ATM machine. We are not dealing with a robot that we put in the points and put in our prayer points and our shopping list, and he just sends them out. And then we do not care about what he wants and how he feels about the things that we are doing. The man looked at all that he had in his barn and he took a decision on what to do. He said, this is what I am going to do. Well, that was his decision. The question is, was that God's decision? Was that God's intention? Was that God's plan? Did he even bother to know if that was what God wanted him to do with the harvest? You know, many times we assume that God has nothing to say about the things we live upon, the things we decide upon, the path of life we've chosen, the decisions we take, our actions and our reactions. We feel God has nothing to say in those things. We feel we can take our decisions and then draw God to Christianize it, to bless it, to come into it. We pull God into situations we started without him. We draw God into journeys we started making without him. We draw God into projects that we initiated without him. We draw God into plans that we've started executing without him. He is not that kind of person. So he showed his foolishness. Paul warned us in Ephesians chapter 5, when you read from verse 17, now you see the Bible warning us from verse 15 actually. He said, do not be foolish, but know what the will of the Lord is, redeeming the times because the days are evil. So what does that passage mean? That passage implies that not knowing the will of the Lord on any matter makes you foolish. So you want to get a new job? Fine. What is the Lord saying about it? You want to marry? Good. What is the Lord saying about it? You want to change jobs? Fine. What is the Lord saying about it? You want to embark on a journey? You want to go on a holiday trip? It's your money, you want to spend it. What is the Lord saying about it? Does God actually have a mind on everything that we are doing? Yes, if we bother to find out. So does it mean that people cannot go on in life without knowing the will of God? Oh, that is a dangerous journey to embark on. Listen, let's remember again from scripture some of the things the Bible says. In Psalm 103, verse 7, the Bible was recounting concerning the children of Israel, and the Bible said, the Lord showed Moses his ways. And then to the people of Israel, he showed them his acts. Now look at the two. To Moses, he showed them his ways. To the people of Israel, he showed them his acts. So let's put them again in other words. To Moses, he showed him his ways. To the people of Israel, he showed them his wonders. To Moses, he showed him his will. To the people of Israel, he gave them his provision. To Moses, he gave them his plans. To them, he gave them provision. To Moses, he gave him his intention. To them, he released his manifestation. Are the two the same? No, they are not. The children of Israel at a point showed that they were more interested in the gifts of God than in the giver. So he gave them the gifts. But for Moses, he opened his mind so Moses will know his thoughts. So how did they end up? 1 Corinthians chapter 10 gave us a warning concerning them. He said, I don't want you to be ignorant. How your fathers went through the cloud. They went through the sea. They were baptized into Moses. They were baptized in the Red Sea. They passed through it. All those things the Bible was explaining, these are the acts of God. They partook of the acts of God. They experienced the signs and wonders of God. The Bible said they went through all those. He was there for them as a pillar of cloud in the daytime. He was there for them as a pillar of fire in the night time. He was there to guide them every single day. They had manna falling for 40 days. They saw stones drop on their enemies. They saw the sun stand still. They saw the Amorites. They saw snakes coming out of the bushes, and they saw the bronze serpent that you could look and live. They saw the Red Sea part, the Jordan part, Jericho fall. They saw, the Bible even said, they drank of the water that came out of the rock that followed them in the desert. And that rock was Christ. Wonderful testimony. Wonderful experience they had. The acts of God. That should have made them to end well, right? No. 1 Corinthians said, nevertheless, with many of them, he was not well pleased, and their bones were scattered in the desert. They partook of the gifts, but they didn't know his mind. How do we capture that? Psalm 95 actually captures that for us. If you read it down, he said, 40 years long was I grieved with this generation and said, it is a people that do err in their hearts. Why? He said, for they have not known my ways. That's what he said. So that was the problem. I gave them manna, but they didn't know my ways. I protect them, but they don't know my ways. I opened the Red Sea, but they don't know my ways. Do not be deceived by the quest for materialistic manifestations of God. That was the problem Jesus was addressing. That if I am to answer you and then you gain all the things that you think your brother has taken away from you, the question is, but do you know God's ways? Unfortunately for us, we live in times that people calibrate success based on how much you've been able to acquire and how much you have. Oh no. Joshua chapter 1 verse 8 says, this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, being careful to do according to all that is written in it. He said, then you shall make your way prosperous and have good success. Why did he say good success? Does it mean there are some successes that are not good? We live in a world of media hyping. We live in a world that people can do anything to gain celebrity status. It looks fine in the eyes of the world. But I want you to know that before God, the end does not justify the means. So again, that man turned out to be a fool because he didn't know the will of God. For him, what he had decided to do appeared sane for him, appeared rational for him, appeared reasonable for him. And what he wanted to do is to store all the crops for himself and use that to assure himself that everything was going to be well. Well, the Bible said that same night, God said to him, you fool. So I ask you, do you know the will of God? The path you are moving on right now, do you know the will of God? Do you live like somebody who seeks the will of God? Who is bothered when God is not speaking? Are you the type that is moving without knowing if God has said anything about what you're about to do? Does it even bother you that you are doing so many things, yet you can't recall the moment that you can say, the Lord impressed upon my heart, or the Lord showed me through his word that what I am doing actually pleases him? I want you to note, it will be a great tragedy to succeed in what does not matter. Because the real thing that you can do that will matter on earth and reverberate in heaven is only that which pleases the Lord. I say to you, therefore, don't be foolish.